Hello everybody! Today I come back with a review of Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer by Rick Riordan. Rick Riordan also wrote Percy Jackson and the Olympians, which I absolutely love, and The Heroes of Olympus, which I really loved as well. Actually, if you come around sometimes like in the next 2 days, to see my video of my top 15 books of 2015, you'll see that Heroes of Olympus is in it. And you should definitely check out the video. So it is the first book of a trilogy that is going to be set in the same world as Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus and the Kane Chronicles, which I haven't read yet, but I ordered them and they're supposed to come tomorrow. So hopefully you'll have a review of the Kane Chronicles very soon. I should have gotten around reading them before, but I never felt really into it. And then reading Magnus Chase, which is both quite similar to Percy Jackson and at the same time very different, I figured why not. So Magnus is a young kid that is living on the streets and he doesn't know about it, but he's special. And little spoiler ahead, he is in fact the son of one of the Nordic gods, the old gods, like Frey and Freya and blah blah blah. And so it's actually really cool because I was a bit worried that it would be kind of a rewriting of Percy Jackson but with different names, and it's not that at all. And it was really great because first of all, he's quite different from Percy, both in age and in character and his relationships with other characters, but also even though he still has this kind of sarcastic tone, which is something I love, so I can't really complain about it. It is also because of the way he approaches this difference. It's very well separated from Percy Jackson, and that's really cool because I was scared it would get redundant and I wouldn't like it and anything. It's quite a big book because since it's gonna be a trilogy, that he can't really go overboard. But I think it's about like 500 pages. Yeah, it's 500 pages. The thing that I liked most about the book is the characters, and a lot of talking about diversification and representation in books, and this book succeeds really well. So yeah, the main girl character, he's Muslim and she wears a headscarf, and there's a lot of talking about the tradition of her religion and how it has an impact on her and on relationship, and that's really cool. But also because one of the two protectors, like Magnus's protectors, is deaf, and there's talking in sign language and he makes joke about it, and it's really well done. So that was really great. Second thing that I loved was that I got to see my favorite character from Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus, who is Annabeth Chase, because she has Magnus Chase, Annabeth Chase, got it. She has a relationship to the main character, and I loved seeing her, even though it was for a really brief moment, because it made me hope that we would get more of her in the later books, and maybe more of the other cast or characters from the first two trilogies, and I'm hoping that they'll probably get together at some point. Other things that was really funny, several times during Percy Jackson and the Hero of Olympus, Nico makes some kind of comment about their powers, and it kind of translates in Magnus Chase because he gets to do different things, because he's not either Greek or Roman, and it's a completely different kind of pattern. It's completely different the way their life is built, and their religion is completely weird with different words and stuff. If you've seen Thor, you know what I mean. And so yeah, it's really cool to see that coming in action, because there were things you couldn't do with Greek or Roman mythology that he gets to do with the Nordic mythology, which offers even more possibilities, and that's really cool. You have a large number of characters and monsters and enemies, and that's really nice too, because there's always something happening. You're never bored. It feels like he put like 4 books in one book. So I like that, because I can't stand just when nothing is happening. Like, it's what lost me in Legend. They were on the boat and nothing was happening, and now I haven't read it. So Prodigy. You see, I've disliked it so badly that I get completely confused about which book is which. So yeah, that was really nice to get all that action and those differences, and to have new stuff to work on, because after like 9 books, 10 books, I can't remember, 10 books of Greek and Roman mythology, you have gone through already a lot. So it's nice to have different things and Valkyries and different monsters. And that's really important for me because I was, like I said, I was very scared it would get redundant. So I'm happy about that, and I'm happy about the fact that we don't get the same kind of dynamics that we did in the previous books, but would be my main point. I say that I like when it's action-packed and when you don't get bored, but at the same time, I feel that at points it was a bit rushed. Like, I would have liked to spend more time on describing this new world that we've never been to and that we're discovering as Magnus is discovering it. And I would have liked to maybe get to know more some of the characters. You have a huge focus on Magnus since he is the narrator, so of course you have a huge focus on him and the people that are the closest to him. So I would have liked maybe to know a bit more about some of the characters. I think if you have read it, I'm talking about Valhalla characters, and for those who haven't read it, you will see that sometimes we brush off a bit too much, and I'm sure that maybe we'll get to see more depth in those characters and more development in the later books, but that's something that I always feel is kind of important and that I kind of missed. Second thing that was a bit of a put off at first, but I got around to be used to it. Rick Riordan is and always will be a sarcastic and funny person, but unfortunately sometimes it feels like Percy and Magnus kind of have the same voice. It's quick and it doesn't happen all the time, and there are very clear differences, as much by his relationship with his family, which is completely different, or his friends, or the fact that in the first book there's less romance and much more friendship than there were in the Percy Jackson books. But still, sometimes you feel like the way he jokes around and the way he behaves would be what Percy would do. And that's probably because it's close to what Rick Riordan would do. I mean, I don't know him. But it's still kind of the same thing. And I would have like maybe a character that was very well differentiated from Percy. So that's what I would say. But overall, I was very, very happy with the book and with what it did. And I can't wait to read the next book. It was released last October, so the next book will probably be released around the same time. I'm hoping to see more than Annabeth. And I'm hoping to see a bit more of those relationships and characters dynamics that I was talking about before that we brushed, and to see more of the different worlds. There's so much to do and so much to see, and it's hard to put everything in just 3 books, especially because those mythologies are huge. But it's good also to see some pop culture characters that have been taken over by Marvel and by DC Comics and stuff like this into his book, and to see what was the author's interpretation of him. I'm thinking of Loki, for example, or Thor, and all the way you will laugh and you will feel, and you will probably be happy with the book and how it changes the way you see things, and it gets to interest you into mythology that is not as much talked about in our countries, at least, as the Egyptian one or the Greek one. So that's really good. Now I'm very curious to see how it will all come together. How do you explain Nordic gods and different gods and words and stuff like this, and Greek gods and Roman gods all living together and all going into Doomsday? And I'm very curious at how he's gonna link to everything and how it's gonna work out, and which character we'll get to see again. Would be really happy to see more of Annabeth and Piper and Percy, who I miss, and probably if I could see Nico, that would be awesome. And try to see if we can see maybe Chiron and Grover, but let's not hope too much. And I'm looking forward to see more of Magnus as he grows up, knowing that anyway it won't be on the large span as Percy was. Like Percy, we got to see him from 12 years of age to 16 and then on to 17. Magnus, we won't get such a large span of his life to see him, but I'm hoping that it will all come together and that we'll get more and more books about those mythologies, and I'm just generally very curious about how it will turn out. If I needed to get those books a rating, I would give them 5 stars out of 5, even though I complain about a few things, because overall, this is a bit later, I'm saying this with a little bit of hindsight, but when I finished, first of all, I read it in 3 days straight and I couldn't put it down. I was so happy. I was talking about it all day, every day to everybody I was seeing, which probably drove him crazy. Yep. My boyfriend is saying yep in the background. And when I was reading it, I was so completely overjoyed with getting back to those words that I thought I had put down for real and that I wouldn't be able to go back to. Then I didn't think about any of those things, and I was thrilled by everything that happened. I was thrilled by the mythology, by the characters, by the intrigue, and I don't like to get into spoilers because I never know if you're watching this to have my opinion or if you're watching this because you would like to see if you think you're gonna like the book. But honestly, it would be a 5 out of 5, and I hope you like it quite as much as I did. Thank you for watching the video. I'll see you very soon for my top 15 books of 2015, and then later on for more reviews. Hope you have a good day.